It starts with something we've all seen, right? A simple traffic stop for expired plates. So how does that spiral into a 15-mile chase, a standoff at a person's own home, and a bunch of felony charges? Well, today on The Explainer, we're going to break down exactly how that happens, step by step.
"You will not indict me." That one sentence, said by the driver during her arrest, well, it tells you almost everything you need to know. It speaks to a mindset that is at the absolute core of this entire incident, and we're going to unpack how everything got to this point.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with how this unroutine stop kicked off. Then we'll get into the weirdness of the polite police chase. From there, it's the standoff at our house, the confrontation, and finally, the really big takeaway here: why compliance is just so important.
All right, so let's rewind to the very beginning. How did this whole thing get started? Well, like a ton of these encounters, it all began with a super simple, everyday kind of traffic violation.
And that's it. Seriously. An officer spots expired plates and flips on the lights to pull the car over. I mean, 99% of the time, this whole thing ends in a few minutes with a warning or maybe a ticket. But yeah, this was definitely not one of those times. Because right here, the driver makes a really critical choice. She just doesn't stop. And that decision immediately kicks off what you could only really call a polite police chase, which, believe it or not, creates a uniquely dangerous situation for the officers involved.
For 15 miles, she just keeps on driving, not speeding, not swerving, just cruising along at normal speeds with lights and sirens right behind her. And by doing that, she's not just fleeing, she's deciding exactly where and when this confrontation is going to go down. She's in control.
Now you got to put yourself in the officer's shoes here. This is one of the most unpredictable things you can run into. The driver looks like they're being cooperative, right? But they're actively refusing to stop. You have no idea what they're thinking, if they have a weapon, or what they're planning to do when they finally do stop.
And right there, in that moment, she decided not to pull over. The entire game changed. This isn't about expired tags anymore. By refusing to stop for a marked police car, she was actively committing a felony. The stakes just got way, way higher.
So the driver eventually pulls into her own driveway and stops. Now to her, that probably felt like the safest option. She's on her home turf. But for law enforcement, a suspect's home instantly cranks up the risk level for everybody involved.
Think about it. An officer walking up to that car has no clue who or what is inside that house. The suspect knows the layout, they could have weapons inside. It gives them a huge tactical advantage. And that is exactly why you see the police immediately box her car in. They have to contain the situation right there, right now.
And notice, the police didn't just smash the windows and drag her out. They followed a very clear step-by-step escalation of force, all of it non-lethal. First, verbal commands. When that didn't work, they used tools to create distance and access, all designed to get her to comply without anyone getting hurt.
And this is a really key part of that process, this shatterball. It's basically a tool that lets them break a car window from a safe distance. This opens up a line of communication, and it gives them a way to use other tools, like pepper balls, without an officer having to walk right up to the driver's door, which is an incredibly dangerous move.
Okay, so once the driver is finally out of the car, you get this total collision of two different realities. You have the driver's perception of what just happened, and then you have the actual legal facts of the situation.
So from her point of view, she's just an innocent person, an American woman going to the post office who's being unfairly targeted by the police. But of course, that narrative completely leaves out the whole 15-mile chase that she initiated.
So on one side, you have her story, right? She's claiming an illegal stop, police brutality, all of it. But then you look at the other side, at the official charges, and they tell a completely different story, one that stems directly from her actions: felony fleeing, disorderly conduct, and of course, the original unregistered vehicle ticket.
And while she's protesting and talking about lawsuits, you see the officer on camera just calmly laying out the legal reality of the situation. He tells her she's under arrest for felony fleeing and disorderly conduct, and that she's going to jail.
And, a look at court records adds even more context here. Turns out, this wasn't her first run-in involving non-compliance. There was a previous charge for resisting an officer. And this current case, it's been dragging on for over 2.5 years, and her bail has been forfeited because she started skipping court dates. Of course, it's important to remember she's presumed innocent until proven guilty.
So after watching all of this unfold, from a simple traffic violation all the way to a felony arrest,
What's the big lesson here? Well, it really all comes back to a single decision that was made in the first few seconds of the encounter.
This right here, this is the whole thing in a nutshell. This entire messy, dangerous situation wasn't sealed by anything that happened in the driveway. It was sealed the second the driver decided not to pull over. Every single thing the police did after that was a direct response to that one initial choice.
So when you look back, the chase, the standoff, the tools they used, none of it was random. These were all tactical responses in a direct chain of consequences, and that chain was started by the driver's own choices, with every police action designed to resolve a dangerous situation that she herself created.
Ultimately, what we have here is a really powerful real-world case study. It starts with something minor, expired tags, and it ends with felony charges, forfeited bail, and a court case that's lasted for years. And that just leaves us with one final question to think about. What is the true cost of that first decision not to comply?